There is a secret that every great achiever carries with them, and it begins not in their environment, not in their bank account, and not in their connections. It begins in the mind. Every towering success, every story of rags to riches, every empire that has been built on nothing but raw desire, each of these begins with a thought. But not just any thought, a thought so large, so magnetic, so definite, that it becomes a burning obsession. To think big is not a luxury of the few, it is the birthright of every man who refuses to settle for mediocrity. Look around at the world, and you will see that most live in silent frustration, burdened not by their lack of talent or opportunity, but by the confinement of their imagination. They think small because they fear disappointment. They dream moderately because they have been trained to believe that safety is virtue. But let it be known, no man who thought small ever built a legacy. The world rewards those who dare to demand more of life, who lift their eyes to a higher horizon, and who refuse to let their reality shrink their vision. The rich do not merely accumulate wealth, they first possess the audacity to see themselves worthy of it. They picture themselves walking through doors most dare not knock on. They rehearse in their mind the life they wish to live until it becomes more real than the limitations around them. And when the average man says, "That's not for people like us," the one who will rise counters, "That's exactly for people like me." The size of your dream determines the size of your future. Shrink your dream, and you shrink your life. Expand your dream, and the universe conspires to expand your capacity. To think big is not merely to fantasize, it is to make a covenant with your future self. It is to see the grandest version of your destiny and to swear allegiance to it. That vision becomes the lighthouse in your storm. It is the compass that guides you when distractions and disappointments try to steal your focus. You must not flirt with your vision. You must marry it. Only those who are loyal to their purpose, through thick and thin, become the masters of destiny. But here lies a divine paradox. While your vision must be enormous, your beginnings must be humble. You must begin not with explosions, but with precision. The man who climbs to the top of the mountain begins with a single step. He does not complain that he is not yet at the summit. He does not despise the weight of the gear on his back. He embraces the path because he knows every small step compounds into altitude. Those who mock the small beginnings, who wait for the right moment to start, or who believe their first step must match their final goal, these are the ones who never start, and therefore never finish. There is power in starting small because small forces, repeated with discipline, create unshakable momentum. The most successful people in the world are not those who leapt from obscurity into greatness overnight. They are the ones who committed to invisible labor. They are the ones who mastered the art of showing up, before anyone clapped, before anyone noticed, and before any results had materialized. They laid one brick with excellence while others waited for the castle to appear. The world respects the finished structure, but forgets that every castle once looked like a pile of rocks. You must understand this eternal truth. Success is not an event. It is a series of disciplined decisions. Each day that you show up when it would be easier to sleep in, when nobody is watching, when your rewards are delayed, you are building the infrastructure of greatness. Start with 5 minutes of focused effort. Start with one page, start with one call, start with the tools you have where you are, with what little you know. The universe does not reward intention. It rewards action, but not any action. Deliberate, focused, persistent action. The poor man waits for the perfect plan. The wealthy man acts on the imperfect one, and adjusts as he grows. While the world debates strategies, he executes on small steps. You don't need to know the whole staircase to take the first step. And what's more, you don't even need applause to keep moving. You must be your own fire. You must find meaning not in results, but in progress. And if you can master the beginning, if you can show up in the small, quiet, overlooked places, you will become the kind of person who can handle the abundance when it arrives. The greatest enemy of greatness is the addiction to immediate validation. This is why starting small is so powerful it humbles your ego, it teaches you patience, it sharpens your character, and it removes the fantasy that success is some magical land reserved for a chosen few. No, it is reserved for the stubborn few, the ones who do not retreat when the world is silent. If you can be faithful with little, you will be trusted with much. Every great man, every titan of industry, every revolutionary leader, each one had a season of obscurity. They had a chapter of silence, and that chapter, though unseen by the world, was the most critical. It was there, in the unnoticed moments, that they developed grit, strategy, clarity, and focus. If you are in a season where your efforts are yielding little fruit, do not abandon your path. Refine it, strengthen it, let it test your endurance, because the fruit comes to those who cultivate the soil long before harvest. You may have a vision to inspire nations, to build wealth that blesses generations, to lead movements, to rise beyond the conditions you were born into. That vision is valid, that vision is sacred, but it must be watered by the discipline of daily action. No matter how small your start, your mind must be rooted in the belief that your work is worthy of success, and more importantly, that you are worthy of the success you seek. Greatness is not revealed in grand gestures. It is revealed in whether you rise when the alarm goes off. It is seen in whether you complete what you said you would do long after the mood has left you. It is shaped in whether you read the book instead of scrolling aimlessly, whether you train instead of excuse, whether you invest instead of consume. The habits of the wealthy are practiced in quiet corners. Their strength lies not in what they flaunt, but in what they consistently do when no one is watching. When you begin small with a big dream in your heart, you align yourself with the universal law of progress. The law that says if you remain faithful, if you remain consistent, if you act even in the face of fear, you cannot be denied. Others will fall off. Others will quit. Others will panic when results do not arrive on schedule. But not you. You will become the kind of person who is too focused to fail, the kind of person who shows up before success arrives, and therefore earns the right to receive it. When it does, there is a secret that the truly wealthy understand, one that most overlook in their pursuit of success. It has nothing to do with how much money you currently possess, how many connections you've made, or what your circumstances look like. The secret lies in how you carry yourself before the world ever rewards you. The rich do not wait for wealth to show up before they begin to act like someone of value. No, they act as though success is already theirs, because in their mind it is. They speak with confidence, move with purpose, and make decisions as though they already sit at the table of power. The posture of wealth comes long before the possession of wealth. Confidence is not arrogance. Confidence is the calm certainty that you are becoming the person your future demands. The rich walk into every room with the understanding that they belong there. They do not shrink in the presence of status. They rise to match it. The poor in spirit beg for permission. The rich in spirit command attention, not by shouting, but by showing they are already aligned with abundance. If you are to elevate your life, you must begin to act with the belief that your outcome is inevitable, even when nothing in your environment confirms it. Consider this: those who attain wealth are often those who trained themselves to think like wealth long before they held it. They dressed with purpose, not for vanity, but to command their own respect. They spoke with clarity, not to impress, but to assert conviction. They walked with discipline, not to parade their control, but because they knew that the body follows the mind. Acting rich is not about pretending or boasting. It is about aligning your behavior with your vision. If your dream is to lead a life of freedom, impact, and abundance, then your actions must reflect that standard now, not someday. The reason most never reach high levels of success is that they wait. They wait for validation, for the right moment, for circumstances to change before they shift their identity. But the truth is, your identity must shift before your reality does. You must carry the mindset of a millionaire long before your bank account agrees. You must negotiate as someone who brings value, speak as someone who deserves to be heard, and move as someone who builds empires, not excuses. You don't act rich because you want to deceive the world. You act rich because you refuse to deceive yourself into thinking you're not already on your way. There is a deep power in embodiment. When your mind, your words, your habits, and your demeanor align with the wealth you seek, you send a signal to the universe, I am ready. The world responds to clarity and certainty. The unsure are ignored. The hesitant are overlooked, but the one who walks with belief attracts resources, relationships, and results. When you behave like someone who values time, protects energy, invests wisely, speaks with vision, and carries himself with intent, doors open. Opportunities arrive, not because you forced them, but because you became magnetic. This internal shift is what separates those who merely wish from those who truly win. Wishing is passive. Thinking like the rich is strategic. It means adopting their patience, their focus, their habits of reinvestment, their avoidance of gossip and noise, their dedication to personal growth. The rich know their time is valuable, so they spend it where it compounds. They don't chase every distraction. They are not accessible to every opinion. They are selective because their vision demands it. You too must become selective, not out of pride, but out of principle. And this leads to the next great secret. To think big is to rebel. Every fortune, every transformation, every massive change in a person's life begins with a simple act of defiance against small thinking. The average mind is trained to conform. From birth, we are told to follow the rules, to stay in line, to accept the limits handed down to us by others. But the wealthy, they do not play by the rules of the masses. They question assumptions, they challenge limitations. They invent new games when the old ones are rigged. They refuse to inherit the beliefs of the mediocre. If you are to achieve uncommon success, you must become bold enough to ask dangerous questions. Why not me? Why not now? Why should I wait for someone else to give me permission to pursue greatness? The moment you stop accepting what is normal is the moment you begin building what is exceptional. Most people fail not because they lack intelligence, talent, or drive. They fail because they conform, they copy, they obey the voices of fear. But you were not made to blend in. You were made to break through. To rebel against average is to build your own standards. It means refusing to let other people's doubts become your destiny. It means rejecting the scarcity mindset that says wealth is reserved for the few. The world is not short on opportunity. It is short on bold thinkers. Your wealth, your success, your freedom will come when you choose to think differently, act deliberately, and challenge the very patterns that have kept others trapped. You must be willing to be misunderstood. You must be prepared to walk alone. For a season, you may be the only one who believes in your dream, but that belief, if held with unshakable faith, will eventually make the world believe too. The rich do not think like victims. They do not believe the world owes them anything. Instead, they take full responsibility for their results. They study, they adapt, they look at failure not as defeat, but as feedback. And most importantly, they surround themselves with those who think higher, dream wider, and push harder. They don't entertain small minds. They don't feed gossip. They do not spend their hours in complaint. They spend their hours in creation. That is the mindset you must adopt. That is the rebellion that will free you from mediocrity. To think big is to discipline your imagination to serve your future, not your fears. Most people use their imagination to create visions of what could go wrong. The successful use their imagination to create plans of what must go right. They visualize victory. They plan meticulously. They anticipate obstacles but refuse to bow to them. Their mind is their kingdom, and they govern it with strength. If your thoughts are scattered, your life will be scattered. But if your mind is focused, your life will follow. Thought precedes wealth, vision precedes achievement. Control your mind, and you control your outcome. You must also understand that bold thought without bold action is delusion. The greatest thinkers are also the greatest executors. They do not just dream, they do. They build, test, refine, and persist. They do not hide behind analysis. They launch, they risk. They trust that movement beats perfection. To think big is not just to imagine a grand future, but to take consistent steps toward it with urgency and resolve. If you are waiting for everything to feel perfect, you are not thinking big, you are thinking scared. Success belongs to the brave. It belongs to those who dare to reprogram their beliefs, elevate their standards, and act in a way that reflects their future rather than their past. It belongs to the rebel thinker, the quiet warrior, the disciplined builder, the one who speaks possibility in the face of doubt. The rich think this way not because of the money. They had this mindset long before the money came. The wealth was a byproduct of the mindset. If you desire that life, then adopt the attitude now. Don't wait for wealth to begin acting like the rich. Begin now. Dress like you respect yourself. Speak like your words shape nations. Move like time is priceless. Choose your habits as if they build your fortune, because they do. Success is not an accident. It is not an event that strikes like lightning or a gift that descends from the heavens without warning. Success is a system. It is a sequence of decisions compounded over time that stack into results so large they appear miraculous to the untrained eye. The one who succeeds is not the one who does the most all at once, but the one who learns to master the art of controlled, consistent action. That is where the power lies, not in random bursts of effort, but in deliberate steps repeated with unwavering precision. The man who wins is the man who controls his actions under pressure. He does not allow his emotions to sabotage his routines. He does not act based on moods, motivation, or the fleeting encouragement of applause. He acts based on principle. He acts based on discipline. He acts based on the deep internal compass that tells him who he is becoming. Each action is a vote for the future he is building, and he casts that vote daily, whether he feels like it or not. While the masses are driven by external circumstances, the uncommon man is driven by internal commands. Small daily disciplines seem insignificant to the lazy thinker, but to the architect of success they are everything. They are the bricks that construct the mansion of achievement. Wake up early when it would be easier to sleep. Study when others entertain themselves. Work on your craft while others complain. Invest your money while others spend. Save your energy for progress, not for proving yourself. These habits appear small in isolation, but over time they transform the man from invisible to unstoppable. That is the law of controlled action. It compounds silently and pays explosively. The unsuccessful look for shortcuts. They ask, "What's the fastest way?" The successful ask, "What's the surest way?" They understand that speed is dangerous without control. Like a race car without a steering wheel, ambition without direction is a recipe for destruction. Controlled action gives you direction. It tells you when to press forward, when to pause and assess, when to refine the plan, and when to double down. It gives you power because it gives you predictability. When you know how to command your habits, you no longer leave your future to chance. The secret is not in doing more. The secret is in doing less with greater focus. Pick a few high-impact actions and do them so well, so repeatedly, that you become impossible to ignore. Success is found in mastery, not in busyness. The man who masters one path becomes king of his domain. The one who chases every opportunity becomes a servant to distraction. Build your life like a craftsman, carefully, intentionally, and with reverence for the process. Be patient, but never passive. Be slow to drift, but quick to act when your mission calls. Let others chase the trends while you build timeless excellence through focused effort, and understand this: your environment is a reflection of your inner order. If your time is disorganized, your results will be diluted. If your attention is fractured, your growth will be fragmented. But if your actions are controlled, if your day is designed with purpose, if your thoughts and movements are aligned with your dream, then success becomes inevitable. The rich do not trust random routines. They do not leave their schedule to chance. They take command of the day from the first moment they wake until the last hour they rest. That is not obsession, that is ownership. You must begin to treat your habits as sacred. They are not just things you do, they are who you are becoming. Every time you train instead of quit, focus instead of scroll, read instead of gossip, plan instead of panic, you are becoming the kind of person who is worthy of the wealth you seek. The goal is not merely to achieve a thing. The goal is to become the kind of man who always achieves. The goal is to build the character of a finisher, a winner, a producer, a leader. That character is carved in the dark, through disciplined action, when no one is watching and no praise is being given. This leads to the final and perhaps most underestimated key to success. You must act like the rich before the riches arrive. You must carry yourself with the grace, clarity, and strategy of wealth, even when your bank account has not yet caught up. This is not about faking status. This is about choosing identity. It is about recognizing that wealth is not first about possessions. It is about principles. If you adopt the internal structure of a wealthy man, you will inevitably attract the outer structure of wealth. Your habits will draw the money. Your thinking will attract the partnerships. Your execution will demand recognition. But none of this happens if you think like the poor while trying to behave like the rich only when convenient. There is a law that governs success. It's the law of alignment. What you say, what you think, how you act, how you invest, and how you treat your time must be aligned with your highest self. You cannot want millions and live like a beggar. You cannot seek freedom and live bound to excuses. You cannot speak of greatness while entertaining mediocrity in your daily decisions. The one who becomes rich becomes so because he disciplines himself into wealth long before the riches arrive. The rich think in terms of assets, not expenses. They view time as a resource, not a toy. They speak with intention because they understand the power of words. They avoid gossip because it cheapens the mind. They read because their wisdom becomes their leverage. They protect their energy because their energy is their currency. If you want to walk in abundance, you must begin to mirror these patterns, not out of envy, but out of design. Because the truth is simple. You do not become successful and then act like the rich. You act like the rich, and then success arrives as a result. The world will tempt you to act based on what you currently have, but if you base your identity on your current reality, you will never escape it. You must lead yourself forward by behaving in alignment with your desired future. Carry yourself with the posture of a man who knows where he is going. Make decisions as though the stakes are already high. Conduct your work with excellence even if no one is clapping. Live with intention even when the world is distracted. This is not pretend, it is preparation. Preparation is not about waiting for the door to open. It is about becoming so ready that when the door appears, you walk through without hesitation. The rich prepare long before opportunity arrives. They know that money moves to those who are organized, mentally strong, emotionally stable, and spiritually focused. They cultivate the inner wealth that precedes the outer riches. If you want your life to rise, let your mindset rise first. Let your speech evolve. Let your schedule tighten. Let your discipline intensify. These are not minor upgrades. These are the levers that shift destinies. Do not fall into the trap of saying, when I become rich, then I'll behave differently. That's backward thinking. That's why most stay broke in mind, and as a result, broke in life. Instead say, I'll behave differently, and as a result, I will become rich. Shift the order, and you shift the outcome. Practice wealth in your mindset. Practice wealth in how you think, how you give, how you learn, how you solve problems, how you speak life into your vision when no one believes in it. The riches will not arrive to crown you. They will arrive to catch up with the man you've already become. Success does not arrive by accident. It is attracted by design. When you think big, start small, and act like the rich, you align your daily habits with your ultimate destiny. Wealth is not first found in the bank, but in the mind, in the discipline, in the silent choices you make when no one is watching. True power lies in your ability to command your focus, respect your time, and carry yourself like someone who is already valuable. When your thoughts, actions, and identity all reflect your highest vision, success no longer becomes a question. It becomes the only possible outcome.